The dialogue between client and architect is about as intimate as any conversation you can have, because when you're talking about building a house, you're talking about dreams. Robert M. Stern, a New York-based architect. In the last D-Bitz, we discussed 4 easy ways to deal with your client. In today's D-Bitz, we will be discussing about 4 easy ways to work with your architect. First, you need to select an architect after a thorough background check, after looking at reference images, reference projects, etc. If possible, talk to his previous clients as well. Now, once you have an architect in your hand, the first thing is give all correct information to the architect. If you mention that there is a change in the plot area, or there is a change in the shape or form of the plot, the architect maybe need to rework from the scratch, and that will have an impact on schedule as well as an impact on cost. So you need to be very careful about that. Now, second thing is, you may be expecting a lot of drawings, documents, photographs, images, etc. from the architect, but it's also important that you provide the architect what you like. You can take references from buildings which you have seen. You can take references from the project photographs you have seen in a magazine, etc. Show it to the architect. Okay, I like something like this. Be very clear from the beginning. That always helps. And it's always important to understand what the architect is talking about. See, as architects, when we talk about architecture, by default, a lot of architectural jargons will come into our discussions. So you may not be in a position to catch it in the first time. No problem. You don't need to get offended. You can always ask the architect, what does that mean? What is important is you need to understand what he is talking about. Now, the other important aspect is always insist for a 3D image. Initially, we will be talking with a 2D drawing, and that is just to understand how the spaces has been planned, etc. And when an architect talks with you along with the 2D layout, he is actually imagining in 3D form, but you may not be able to get it that way. So it's always important, you should ask for a 3D image. And unless and until you are very clear about the entire stuff, do not ask the architect to proceed further, because he will go ahead and then do with detailed drawings, etc. And then once you come to site and then you are like, oh, this is not what I wanted. So that thing has to be avoided. So you have to ensure that from the beginning, you understand what he's talking about. You understand what he's drawing. The last important thing is to have a good rapport with the architect. The better rapport with the architect and the client will always result in a better project. Now let's look at what kind of relationship an architect and a client should have. It is definitely not like a doctor and a patient, because the patient most of the time doesn't know what the doctor is working on. It is not like a director and the audience, because the director never consults his audience when he is doing the film, during the shooting time. He never consults the audience. The audience will see the movie for the first time in the theater. So there the audience has got a freedom to like or dislike the movie. This is not applicable in architecture. In architecture, you need to understand, as a client, you have got all the right to ask the architect to get you involved in the design process. As a client, you have to be included in the design process from the beginning. So these are the 4 easy ways to work with your architect. Thank you.